Now joining us over Zoom from the Phoenix area, Dallin.
What's up, Dallin?
An official welcome back to BYU Sports Nation.
It's good to be back, man. Good to be back with my guys.
How would you sum up the last, let's say, 3 weeks of your life?
Crazy is the word that first comes to mind. It's been a crazy couple weeks, but I've learned a lot about myself and was able to talk to a lot of amazing programs. So it was a good experience, and I think I came out stronger from it.
What ultimately swayed you to return to BYU?
You know, BYU has been an incredible place for me these last 2 years, between the fans here, the culture that we've created with my teammates, the relationships I have, my family. But ultimately, it came down to a couple really good conversations with Coach Young. Obviously, the dynamic between the point guard and the head coach is a special one, and so we were able to figure some things out and be on the same page, and our visions kind of align, and so that's what ultimately led to me deciding to stay.
As far as your decision to return to BYU and when that actually happened, where in the timeline did that fall, Dallin? Was this decision made a couple of days before you made the post, or was it a few hours before? When did it actually happen that you're like, okay, I'm going back to BYU?
Yeah, I was leaning towards BYU, and I took a visit out to Creighton, had a great visit. And then a couple schools kind of were pressuring me a little bit to make a decision sooner. And so that Thursday night, I think it was the same night Richie announced his, I talked with my family. I'd prayed a lot about the decision, and ultimately I decided that I was going to stay. And so that's the night I gave Coach Young a call, and he was fired up and I was fired up.
And it was exciting because you got to get on that plane and go to Phoenix and meet the Phoenix Suns and whatnot. How was that experience with the guys to be able to kind of see KY in his element and meet some big-time players?
It was awesome. You can tell the respect that KY has earned from not only, you know, the players at Phoenix, but the fans. Everyone speaks super highly of him. The way he carries himself, he's a man of great character, and he's a winner. And so it was an awesome experience to be down there with my brothers. You know, all those guys, Foos, Trev, J-Mac, everyone made the trip, Doss. And so it was awesome to be there with them and to be able to watch KY in his element. And unfortunately, the result wasn't the one that we wanted for him, but he's obviously an incredible coach and created something special down there.
Dallin Hall is with us on BYU Sports Nation. He's now available because the Suns were swept last night by the Minnesota Timberwolves. So in a way, is this a good thing, even though it wasn't a great ending for him with his Suns tenure?
Yeah, no, that's an interesting question. I think it'll be good for our program, just in essence, like he's able to get back, get some boots on the ground. We can kind of get to work and start establishing that vision even further. But I know, like, it's super hard for him because of what he's created in those relationships with his guys at the Suns. So our heart goes out to him, but we're excited to get to work with him back in Provo.
Yeah, mixed emotions, right? Because you're like, let's get to work all in. But also, we don't want you to get swept. That's not how you want to end. But here we are. And we expect
Right.
Kevin Young to be 100% in Provo going early this week. We'll see when he gets here for sure. When it comes to what you said, what you heard from Kevin Young and others, what is it that you wanted to hear, and what is it that you discussed that made you think, okay, I do want to return to BYU?
Yeah, the biggest thing, like for me, the first thing was having a relationship with the head coach where I feel like I can really trust him. What he's telling me, his vision that he'll be, you know, 100 with me on my game and what he thinks. And so we were able to have some conversations, and from everything that I'd heard about him as well, is like, this is a man of character. You can trust what he says. There's no really games, like he's just going to shoot you straight. And that's kind of the feeling I got about him. He's a winner, but he's also very straightforward and humble. And so I thought we were able to grow a relationship pretty fast. and then our system, like how we're going to play this upcoming year. That was the big thing that we talked about. We talked about how I would fit within that, and kind of those things are what aligned, and that's what made me feel comfortable and excited, to come back to BYU.
Dallin, you have professional basketball aspirations, and rightly so. You're off to a very quick start at BYU and now approaching your junior season here and starting to get on some radars. Kevin Young obviously knows how to develop NBA talent. So how do you expect, when you work with Coach Young, that to impact and develop your own game?
I'm excited. I'm super excited. Like, he is very well connected. Not only that, but he knows what it takes, and he sees that every day. So to have that every day, that kind of mind, that kind of experience is huge for me. That was a huge reason I came back, because my ultimate goal, is to play in the NBA. And part of that is doing something at BYU that's never been done before from a winning standpoint. But I think that what he brings to the table as far as his connections with the NBA and also his experience, like, it just gets me super stoked, because I'm a big, learner. Like, I just want to learn. I want to grow my game and play professionally. And so I think he puts me and a lot of our guys on the team in a great place to succeed in that area.
No one blames you for jumping in the portal. In fact, every year you have the right to do so and even transfer. There's new rules, right? What is it that you learned about being in the portal, and then who took second in the race for you?
Yeah, I learned a lot. I learned that there is a lot of great programs out there with great coaching staffs that handle things the right way. The final 5 schools I had narrowed it down to were BYU, Creighton, St. Mary's, Oklahoma, and Utah State. And just great programs with great coaching staffs. But the thing I learned was that each of the schools, they taught me a lot about my game. Like, they were super direct, straightforward, things that I could work on, which, I don't know, to me, I eat that kind of stuff up, because it's just I want to get better. I know I need to get better. And to have these coaches, some of them that have scouted against me and even played me, tell me what they think I need to improve on was super beneficial. As well as I learned that, I learned a lot about what I want, going forward. And so those kind of things were all a great experience for me, and they helped me, I think, in the long run, become a better basketball player and a better person.
Dallin Hall is on BYU Sports Nation. He is back at BYU, and I'd like to take this time to personally thank you for not choosing St. Mary's, Dallin. I think that's maybe the best decision you've ever made in your life.
We didn't want to trade you for Aiden Mahaney. Come on, man.
The rivalry. Yeah.
Oh, the rivalry. Hey, it doesn't matter that BYU and St. Mary's no longer conference foes. That will forever be there for sure. Okay, kidding aside, when you saw Richie make his announcement to come back, you said you were clearly leaning toward BYU. Did his decision and conversations maybe with Richie have any impact on what you ultimately decided to do?
Yeah, so it's interesting. When we both jumped in the portal to kind of weigh out our options, we said, let's keep each other in the loop. And then I think between all the phone calls both of us were having, we weren't able to do that. So we were a little out of touch. We would text back and forth. But that night he decided, I texted him, I was like, Rich, where you at, man? Because obviously I was leaning towards BYU, and I was thinking, if I come back, I definitely want to be teammates with Richie. And he called me that night and told me he had made his decision. And I told him that's where I was leaning. I just wanted one more night to pray about it and talk about it with my family. And so both of us kind of had our own journey, our own route, and we didn't want to pressure each other or guilt each other or shame each other. Like, we wanted each other to make the best decision that was best for ourselves and our families. But we both came to the same decision, and now we're stoked, because who here doesn't want to play with Richie Saunders, right? That guy he's a winner. He's an ultimate competitor. And so I'm super stoked to be putting on the same uniform as him, as well as the other guys we got already on the roster.
And there will be others that join soon enough, which will be exciting. Was BYU competitive in the NIL space?
Yeah, BYU is making us feel valued, right? Obviously, the NIL space is a factor in the decision, but for me, not the driving factor, because I have those aspirations to play at the next level in the NBA. And so I knew that the decision I had to make had to be a basketball decision that was going to put me in a place to be successful. But I definitely still feel valued here and taken care of. And so BYU has treated me incredibly well in my tenure here, and they continue to do so. So I'm excited going forward.
Dallin, a couple of quick hitters as we say goodbye. Yay or nay to the headbands that you saw us rocking on Friday, me and Jason Shepard?
Yay, we need more of that. Oh.
Hey, I appreciate that validation. Yeah. And then secondly, if you feel like talking to Jackson Robinson and telling him to come back to BYU, we're cool with that too. Whatever.
I got to get on the phone with him. He's been super busy, but we've been texting a little bit back and forth.
Great stuff. Dallin, we appreciate the time. Thrilled that you are back at BYU. Can't wait to get you back in Provo. Enjoy your workouts while you're out of state, and we'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate y'all. Go Cougs, baby.
Go Cougs.